I know what the title of the episode is going to be now. So anyway, Randal pretty much is just saying, is pretty much calling out what we said earlier, that Dante's way too straight-laced to actually be doing this. Randal calling him out on that pretty much, and he hands him the citation, and that's pretty much where we ended it. The only difference, though, between the script and what actually is on the screen is the age of the kid actually is different. They actually aged her younger on the actual screen here. In the script, she's 5 years old. They say she's 4 years old. So I think that actually makes it worse.
I know. Honestly, how bonehead do you have to be to know that they're not old enough to buy cigarettes? Like, honestly.
Well, as Kyle put it, I believe Kyle was saying something about it might have just been a midget, and he wasn't paying attention.
Billy Barty could have just come in to buy cigarettes.
What? Is that what it is? The midgets are drug mules? So what do you call a midget drug mule?
Shetland pony?
A
bump.
Those funny answers. Both of those funny answers. Oh my god. So that's that one. That's that. I will ask you, Jake, as I always ask our guests, what's your history with this movie?
Well, I grew up, I didn't know about the movie, honestly, until my teen years because, you know, it wasn't very well, I don't say circulated. It's kind of has its cult classic now, but I have a brother that's, you know, I think he's a few years older. I forget how much older he is than me, honestly. I think he's about, when did he, he's about 5 years older than me. He introduced me to many different movies throughout life, and this was one of them. And I watched it. I thought it was hilarious because it's just like a lot of low key, like low brow humor. But then you come in, like I started rewatching Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which made me laugh pretty much. And then just going through all the different shows, and like I think out of all of Kevin Smith's, you know, creations, I've seen the most probably Clerks 2, and probably more than that was probably Mallrats, just because like that's what I had access to. And then growing up, you know, I started loving the movies more and more, and ended up buying the Blunt Man and Chronic comic book, and just it just makes me laugh every time, especially in Clerks 2 when he's talking about Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and he makes the other guy throw up. It's hilarious.
That is pretty funny, actually. I'm not gonna lie. It's funny because we're going through everything, and every time we bring a guest on, they have that story where it's like, yeah, I had a friend, or I had a brother, or I had someone that got me into this movie. It seems to be that is the theme of this movie. It's people like, you have to watch this. You have to watch this.
It's so true because like you don't know what it's like until you actually seen it. Because like I grew to a love for Monster Squad through my brother, and like a lot of the movies from the 80s that he grew up watching, that's what he introduced me to, and that's how I got my movie education. Honestly, was growing up and watching a lot of these movies, and then him just introducing me to more and more and more. And then in this day and age where we both just like, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen that? And then there's just a lot of back and forth with me and my brother. And, you know, we have quite the movie collection between the two of us. So if I don't have it, I can generally just go, hey, do you have this movie? He's like, yeah, I have it. And I'm like, okay, let me borrow that, or vice versa. And Clerks was one of them. And it's like, I think it was like back in 2009. I'm like, you know what? I want to watch Clerks. I called him up and like, hey, do you have Clerks? He's like, yeah, one end. It's like, do you want the second one as well? Or I'm like, oh yeah, let me get that too. Or I think it was Mallrats, and then Chasing Amy, and I forget how many other ones. But between all of these movies, he's the one that definitely introduced me to Kevin Smith, and he's the one that paid for my ticket to go see him at the comedy club. Because I was like, I didn't even know he was coming. And he's like, oh, dude, you want to go? And I'm like, dude, schnoogans.
It's funny, Kyle actually, as he's talked about this many, many times, how we got into the movie. But one thing I don't ever bring up on the show, and I really should once in a while, is Kyle went and actually got me like little action figures that are on right by the set here of the characters from this movie. It was actually pretty cool, like little mini Lego like minifigures from this movie, and they're sitting right by the TV where we watch the movies. That's actually pretty awesome. Yeah. I don't think I ever brought that up on the show. I just wanted to bring that up now. So that's that. So. Jake, why don't you plug your show? That Kyle was on. Plug your show and tell everyone what's going on over there.
When you're on the podcast talking Clerks, because I think Randal likes to play with his little toys too. But
yeah, sorry as I interrupt you. I'm on the Dark Knight Minute as we do a similar format as you gentlemen, but we analyze the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy, one Batman and Batarang and Rachel filled minute at a time.
Yeah, not to be confused with the guys over at Batman 89 who are doing the Tim Burton movies. Just wanted to clarify that, people that are wondering. And also, what's the other one? The DC Universe?
Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. Cinematic Universe. They were the guys in the convention in August. I'm trying to remember. So 3 different Batman series is all going and talking about Batman, but you guys are on the Dark Knight Minute talking about Batman Begins right now. So,
and right now we're doing, we've just, I think we're recording episodes around in the 80s as close to you guys, but yeah, we're definitely, I feel like we got the better of the Batman movies. Like the Burton movies are classic, the first one and the second one, but then you get into the Schumacher travesties that just make you cringe. And then Cinematic Universe doesn't have a bad Batman. It's just, he's poorly utilized into the fact of, Batman v Superman and the whole Martha issue. Between Martha and Rachel, I feel like Batman just needs to get over some stuff.
So true. Well, I was going to say about the original movies, I actually really do like Batman Forever. It's so hokey to watch back, but I still really, really enjoy that movie. Batman and Robin, terrible. Batman Forever, I do like that movie. So, a lot.
I know it's like, it's just, it had a great cast to it, but they were just so corny. Arnold Schwarzenegger was just Victor Freeze, his silly one-liners and freaking just all of it was just bad. And bat nipples should never be a thing and never shall be a thing again.
Yeah, I never want to see Alicia Silverstone's ass in a Batgirl outfit ever again. I just never want to see it.
Why would you not want to see that? That was awesome.
But just it didn't work for me. Like, I like her in Clueless. I did not like her in that movie. It's just a personal thing.
Alicia Silverstone's
I enjoyed her Batgirl outfit. She was actually pretty good in that. Like, if anyone needed nipples, that was her.
Well, that's the problem. They were going to do that. They were not going to do that one because it was a female. That would have caused outrage. Do you know that?
Oh no!
Female nipples. There's an issue.
Yeah, just like nowadays,
right.
her being in high-heeled boots would cause a panic.
True. Very, very true. I think the entire concept of Clueless would cause an issue nowadays. So, all right. On that note, Jacob, thank you, Jacob, for coming on. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you and your podcasts? Go ahead.
Yes, you can find us. You can find us on Twitter at the Dark Knight Min. Us on Facebook at our League of Listeners. Come check us out there. We have a good fan interaction, and we'll talk Batman every day, kind of like Kevin Smith, but what we like to do, more narrow on just the Dark Knight trilogy. And then, find me on Clerks Minute as I talk Bob spanking each other.
On that note, thank everybody so much for listening. We are part of the Film and Void Podcast Network, and you can find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and everywhere else you hear us. Everywhere else, every podcast place you can find us. Also, we are part with Jacob and Dark Minute, part of Movies by Minute at moviesbyminutes.com. That being said, thank you all for listening to Clerks Minute. I'm Blake.
I'm Kyle.
Have a good day, everybody.
Hermaphroditic porn. Beautiful chicks with dicks to put mine to shame.
Snorting, smoking weed, doing coke, drinking beers, beers.